Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 p.m. on a Thursday again, and it's my pleasure to be coming to you with today's episode of the Facility Management Launch Hour. My name is Paul Erubami, and I'll be your host again today. I just need a quick confirmation that my audio is clear and you see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Audio is clear and screen is working.
Okay, good. I know that there's been a general disruption of internet services. I don't know whether it's just an operational issue that's cutting across almost all the networks or it's deliberate, but in any case, we will try to stay on course. And I'm happy that I can reach through to you today again. We have entered the month of the FM Mastercraft Diploma that starts on the 19th. The class 22 starts on the 19th of August, and we're into the critical threshold. We've had some very fantastic bonanzas that we awarded throughout the month of July, but effective today, for every full payment, they've still an exciting 10% off the listed price. So for anybody paying full for the physical class of 750,000, you get 75,000 naira taken off as a discount between now and the starting of the program. The same applies to the virtual program, which is 500,000, and you get to earn a 50,000 reduction in that tuition. Okay. On the 7th, 8th, and 9th, we have a short course coming up. It's going to be an interesting one. If the most people for the course are already on the virtual subscription, so the course will go on as planned, 7, 8, and 9, and we're going to be covering topics in maintenance, in operations, of strategy, health and safety, and project management in those 3 days, including some workplace productivity courses. So if you want to join, that's just 225,000 naira for those for 3 days of comprehensive training with certificates that you can take part in. And we encourage employees and managers and leaders who have some experience in facility management, who are not starting from scratch, who want to boost their performance, to sign up for this program. And if you come in with a good number of your staff for it, you can have a remarkable rebate on the cost of joining that program. Okay. The same thing applies to the FM Mastercraft. We have the corporate booking discount that can give you up to 50% of the tuition for a group of more from the same organization. All right. So if you do have a team that you want trained, please come forward and we can have a conversation. If you want to, bring on board your professional association, friends and colleagues in whatever built environment profession, whether it's quantity surveying, architecture, engineering, estate and estate survey, town planning, all of those, sister associations come in as a group as well, and we'll give you a massive discount. We've extended this to architects in the past, to engineers in the past, have a good group and give them, massive discount up to 60, 70% if possible, depending on the number that comes. We've also done the same for cleaning, a group of cleaning organizations. And we hope that when we make this kind of offers, we'll have someone coordinating from the internal end, and that makes it successful. Okay. All right. So I know how we have we have built up to today. There's been so much anxiety, so much talk about the protest that's going on today. We understand fully the situation of the country. We are feeling the brunt ourselves, and so to say we are sympathetic about the plight of the ordinary man is just to say we're there right in the heart of the hardship, and we keep doing our best to make a little bit of difference, make some contributions, to ease the situation, both for our own businesses and ourselves and those around us. Everyone should do the little they can to be productive, acquire skills, so that you can have some means of livelihood, so that the impact of an economy that is tending downwards will not be too disastrous or impactful on you and your family. And that's why we are doing a lot of training. That's not all we do in Max-Migold. We provide energy solutions for energy efficiency, metering, Internet of Things, installation, software development and deployment. We work with organizations who want to outsource their facility management services. We mobilize teams to manage those sites using the best practices and processes that we've developed over the years. So we have a very wide range of solutions for the FM industry. If you want to have asset tagging, asset management setup, if you want to have any kind of consulting in the built environment, invite us in Max-Migold and we can be at your service. So every time you come to any of these sessions that we hold on Thursdays, the Giving Back series we ran for several years, that's also going to continue. We're going to have another session of Giving Back probably in January, where we're going to have full day or two of free lectures. They give you a sample of what we have in store, right? So if you've attended this free training every Thursday that I've been having, you will see that they have a pattern. So we'll do core FM courses, and then we'll do personal development, productivity, all other courses that helps us to improve ourselves. The whole idea is keep learning, keep getting better, keep doing better, and you will not only excel in the jobs that you have right now, you will likely not be the one that will be asked to leave when the economy goes down, right? And even if it does happen that you have to change job or switch or you resign and leave and move for something else, you will not stay at home for a long time because you have built a lot of these skills, because you've learned them and you're acting on them. That's the first thing. The second thing is you need to have some form of certificates or certifications for every of the skill that you acquire. So if you learn about business writing, the last time we talked about respect, the other time we talked about leadership, talked about customer service, we talked about communication. Don't just, I've heard this, I've taken notes, I'm not acting on it. Go to facilityManagementCourses.com, our learning management portal, and buy it. Business writing is not expensive. It's probably around 19,000 naira. Buy it. Go through the course. You will have the slides. You will have the video. You will have the quizzes. You have the whole content. Go through it. Pass it. Earn the certificate. Download it. Every certificate you earn from Max-Migold is highly respected. So even if it's just 20,000 you pay to learn about this, and you earn certificates with it go a long way adding up to your list of qualifications. So don't wait until you have big money to go for a big training, master's program or whatever. Pile up little, training and certificates, as you build your career. That's where you become better, and you don't even know it, in terms of no impact in your pockets because you're able to do it. So take that opportunity. If you have questions about our training, about our services, about issues or challenges you are having at work, the resources you need, it's better you're in our communities. We have the WhatsApp community. You can come in there to the Max-Migold training WhatsApp platform and, meet 500-600 people, like minds in that environment, and have conversations. We'll respond to your questions there. Join the Max-Migold Business and Training Telegram group. That's another group that has close to 1,000 people or more also able to interact. Join the Telegram group. We have a Facebook group, and that's even more global and international because we have a lot of people from all over the world in our facility management services and training group. Okay, so take advantage of this. Go on LinkedIn and connect with me, Paul Erubami. If you search for me on LinkedIn, you definitely see me, and I respond to a lot of conversations on a daily basis. And problems are solved with these conversations. Okay, so let's keep engaging, let's keep getting better, and let's keep being the best of what we can be in our various professions, in our various jobs. Okay, so that brings me to what we're trying to talk about today: business writing. I've already got an attestation that you can see the screen, so I'm going to get right into it. So when we talk about communication, we talk about different types of communication. Writing is just one of the types of communication. And it turns out that it is the one that is supposed to be the highest level of impact from our efforts in terms of where we are not, and we can reach through where we cannot come physically through our writing. But many people struggle with writing. Okay, so we're going to basically just talk about a few. Thank you all for remaining calm as we battle this internet situation. So I have tried every available options: Airtel, Glo, MTN, and I think this connection to Airtel might hold. So let's be optimistic. Now, back to writing, business writing. Some of us may not realize that little mistakes or little errors that goes in very expensive venture, and my tenses, my grammar of if I may, and then for internal within your organization, it could also portray you as lacking confidence or capacity to get important goals, to achieve important goals. If you can't put in the efforts to edit, to correct, to update, your writing ability, that is what goes ahead to create perception in the minds of people who are going to make judgments about your capacity, about your competence, about your level of confidence, about your ability to get things done. Okay, so we want to, in this session today, look at some of the things that common mistakes that we make in our business writing. So to gain awareness of common spelling and grammar issues, we want to review basic concepts of sentence and paragraph construction. We learn them in school. As if we are going to start afresh talking about everything, but just to prompt us to remember some of the things we've learned before. Because now we are in the field, we are in operations, we are in management, we are in the business, now what we're supposed to have learned is now being tested. Okay, so if you say, oh, we learned this in primary 3, we learned this in SS3, we learned it in our general studies in year 1 university, right? How are you able to translate that to reality in the workplace? Because you might have learned it to pass exams, So things like agenda, when you hold meetings, you know, prepare an agenda? Do you distribute it? Do you prepare minutes of meetings? How do you write your emails? So if you bring if you bring casual writing approaches or the language we use in casual conversations in this writing, doesn't mean that on the difference between different types of writing. Okay, so that where you can put, for example, DAT as that in casual writing, you cannot spell THAT as DAT, for example, in emails and business writing, even if it's just to your colleague in the next office. Spelling, you probably think, okay, if I misspell it, the person who I'm communicating with still understands what I'm trying to say. But you give the wrong impression. And sometimes you communicate a different meaning. Now, let me explain this. You know how when you have your editor on when writing, the editor will correct words independently of the context. AFFECT versus EFFECT. The editor will not tell you that the spelling is wrong because the spelling is, but they are two different words. Unless you are using contextual writing editor and those other ones that can, and some other new AI tools now that can see that that's not the word you should use in that particular spot. So even if the spelling is correct, the word is a different word, right? So we have to be very conscious of spelling, right? And pronounce, the way we talk, the way we communicate verbally can get into our spellings. Sometimes it just how would I put it? It's an accent that comes in from our languages, our tribes, for example. from our casual communication. And then when we now begin to write, surprisingly, we are seeing ourselves writing the things the way we say it. So we need to be very conscious. So spelling is a big deal. So when your spell checker is telling you words are correctly spelled, you seem to do another check to see if it's in the context or in the grammar that you are trying to apply. And then there are some words that are particularly confusing. Those ones that are the IE, the receipts, the believe, the and those that are EI, for example, among some of those words. Sometimes we have differences in British way of spelling, the American way of spelling, or what they call the international way of spelling, that we need to be. If you adopt any one, it's correct, but be consistent. You cannot say centralize IZE instead of ISE, or realize REALISE, right? And then I didn't use ZE for the realize. Then I get to centralize, I use ZE when I could also use SE. So these are just minor inconsistencies that can come out of your inability to check how you are using the particular version of English that you are writing with. Okay, so these are all. Since we are having these frequent breaks due to internet, I'm switching between all three of them. And sometimes all three of them are having issues at the same time. Since we're having this, I want to just explain to you what we're going to do after this. We will re-edit the entire video and post them on all of our platforms: Google, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, the two channels on LinkedIn, so that if you missed out because of the continuous breaking of this conversation, you can always go back to watch it. And if you go to Max-Migold channel on YouTube, you'll have hundreds of hours of free training that you can participate in, including every episode of the launch hour that we've been having from inception. So don't feel too disrupted by what's going on now regarding the internet, disruptions. All right, so grammar. These are rules of syntax. Grammar violations in the business document can affect negatively on a professional or a company, just like spelling. So we must make sure that we deal with grammatical errors and rules. Okay. A few, subject-verb agreement. You cannot start a sentence and then mix the sentence with singular versus plural in the same sentence. It cannot be we or us, which is plural, and then it now refers to a subject or a verb that is singular, right? So let's take S. If you add S or ES, right, to a noun, it means it is plural, right? But if you add S to a verb, it means it's what? It's singular, right? So creating an alignment between that. So if you say If I want to say we run, right? We is plural. Run is plural. But if I want to say he runs, he is singular, runs is singular, right? So note that you cannot say because I say we run, also go and say he run. No, he runs. So that way you have created alignment. The subject and the verb are now in agreement, and that particular rule of opposite way of treating singular and plural between nouns and verbs must be understood. Okay, because the S turns a verb to singular, while the S turns the noun to or a subject to plural. All right, and then talk about the tenses. I'm sure many of us must have gone through some of these in our elementary days. The perfect tense, past perfect, future perfect, different tenses that we can use when writing. So I'm just going to reel out a brief description of each one. The perfect tense is used to express an event that happened in the past, but still has an effect on the present. For example, Mr. Johnson has managed his company for the past 5 years, right? So this is a perfect tense statement, has managed. Now, the has managed means that he has in the past managed and is still managing. That's why we call that a perfect tense. And then you have the past perfect, used to express an event that took place before another action, also in the past. For example, Mr. Myers had been sitting on a meeting when the client called. This is a past that is really past, and then something else has happened after that past. You have the future perfect, used to express an event that will have taken place at some time in the future. For example, I will have finished by 10 p.m. Even though I'm using the word finished, it is not a past tense. That's why we say it's a future perfect, because finish versus finished, the impression of finished is that it's past, right? Because I will have finished by 10 p.m. The have added to the finished makes it a future perfect, right? So sometimes we may not consciously know which rules that we are applying. We may not consciously know which rules we are applying. It just we because we listen to a lot of English, we practice writing, we talk, we read. Some of these things come to us almost naturally, right? It comes to us naturally. So what you try to do is, instead of thinking about the rule itself, think about how what you are writing sounds, and be careful that the way you talk will affect how you think about what you are writing. Because if you move your literal translation from any of our languages, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, or any of dialects of all of these languages, you will find that certain combination of expression will make sense as a translation or a literal translation from those languages that can detract from the rules of grammar. Okay, so what you can do for most of the common words that disturb you, you can set up what we call a cheat sheet, a sheet of paper where you write down some of the things that you want to be reminded about. So I will think about how do I write database? Is it data, space, and base? or database as a single word. Both of them is correct, but I need to be consistent, right? And so on and so forth. Whether it's spelling or grammar, it's important that we, adopt, when we have options, adopt the one that is, and be consistent with it in our writing. All right, then sentences are the basis of every written communication. And the sentence is made up of the subject and the predicate. The subject is what the sentence is about, which is usually a noun or a pronoun. The predicate tells something about the subject, right? Often indicated by an action or verb, right? So let's keep going. So the committee recommends a full inquiry over this matter. What's the subject? The committee. And the predicate is what is talking about the subject. The predicate recommends a full inquiry over the matter, right? So it doesn't matter whether the subject is long and the predicate is longer. No, the important thing is that we know the two parts of every sentence, and that we don't make a sentence that does not have the two parts. So that's why certain phrases and clauses are described separately. They are not sentences. Sentence must be complete. You cannot say words in incomplete sentences. You cannot write words in incomplete sentences. Then we have the punctuations. They help to organize our sentences, right? Separate sentences, break down a sentence into various aspects. The period, that's the full stop, the question mark, if you ask a question. And sometimes you would ask a question in a writing without putting a question mark. The person who reads that sentence or that comment will have to guess whether it's a statement that you are making or a question that you are asking without the question mark. Exclamation points also helps to express strong emotion, to heighten or elevate how you want that particular comment to be taken. And then you have the comma used to separate items in a series, right? So whether that series is within a sentence, where you have all of those but, or, nor, for, so, that you punctuate it using a comma, and so you can make a longer sentence. Sometimes it's used in a list. Just, make a list of continuous items. Colon is the double dots on vertical array used to mean note what follows. So whenever you put a colon, it means, all that is coming is describing what I was talking about. And then you have the apostrophe, show belonging or to indicate the omission of letters in the word. Semicolon used to link independent clauses not joined by a coordinating conjunction as a rule. Use semicolon to end complete sentences in cases where you are not indicating a full stop. Sometimes we miss the colon with the semicolon. Semicolon links two parts, whereas a colon refers you to more content relating to what we're talking about. Okay, so those are just how to put words together, and now, so let me go to the concept of paragraphs. I've seen some write-ups that are just muddled up, right? You write several ideas in the same paragraph. You don't, so if you have, a sentence is supposed to be a statement, one point. But that point can be explained more with more points. As you explain more with more sentences, they all form a single idea in a paragraph. Now, if the idea is changing, even if it's leading from one idea to another idea and there's a logical flow in conversation, you need to start another paragraph. So it's a way of simplifying the read. If I see a paragraph, if it is too long, I know that that person is probably confused, doesn't know how to organize his thoughts. So be very careful about lengthy paragraphs. If paragraphs are not too long, it also helps your writing to be easily readable. You see those white spaces between paragraphs, they're very effective in keeping attention on what you are writing, okay? But never ever use too many sentences in a paragraph. So the basic parts of a paragraph are the topic sentence, which introduces it, the supporting sentence. Sometimes supporting sentence could be more than one, right? And then the closing sentence. The whole idea is it is a single idea that forms a paragraph. It shows that you are composed and you know what you are working on. Keep your main idea central. Decide how to best explain your main idea and outline first before starting on your writing. When organizing your thoughts in any writing, I would normally use what I call a dump or a clip dump. So I'll write plenty things, just leave them there in outline formats. Sometimes I'm doing research, getting more content, just leaving them in outline format. In some cases, I will organize by editing to make what I'm piecing together mine by paraphrasing them first before I start organizing them. So I'll now start shifting some, put some up, put some in the middle, put some at the bottom in another sheet. So I'm taking from the clip and organizing before I now begin to rewrite them again. So organizing is a bit of work, but it starts with thinking through, first understanding what you want to convey and deciding how the thought should flow. You want to guide the thoughts of somebody who's going to read your writing. You must decide how that thought will flow to the logical conclusion you want the person to make. Okay, so let's talk about agendas for meetings. You can't have meetings. In fact, I'm sure most of us are aware or familiar or have experienced meetings that are just from nowhere to nowhere, basically all over the place. Okay, so if you want to have that kind of control, manage your time and be effective and get results, you must have meeting agenda. Meeting agendas help the meetings to flow well. It helps you to get the right ideas out. It helps everybody to stay under control, in check. So that the conversation is trackable. We know exactly what led to what. We know what points we are making because you sent the agenda. So the purpose of the meeting must be known, the time, date, and location must be known, and advanced preparation guidelines is very key. Every meeting somebody is invited to, you must know what his own contribution is, you must know the objective of why he's being part of that meeting, and he must know what he needs to prepare to bring to the meeting. It's very important. And everyone coming to a meeting should also know who is being invited, right? Because sometimes you go into a meeting and you don't know who was being invited, your preparation just goes off because now you find yourself in the midst of an audience you don't understand and you're not prepared to deal with, okay? So it's important that we have that. So that's the whole idea of why you must have an agenda, and that agenda must be shared in advance. This falls squarely on leaders, managers, bosses, secretaries who handle calling for meetings and stuff. It's very important that we put this into our professional practice. Too many of us, just know that certain meetings hold. And from one meeting to the other, the objectives, the agenda items, the discussion pattern just flows according to the will or whim of one person or a group of people that are very powerful. So there's no order, and many people just go there and waste their time. Sometimes without an agenda, timing is a big issue. People just talk. One person, there's an agenda in some cases. The agenda says we're going to have 5 items to discuss, and this meeting is going to be for 1 hour. And one person in addressing agenda item 1 talks for 17 minutes. The remaining 7 people in that meeting have not said a word. On agenda item 1, you know that meeting is gone. It's already lost. So if I were to set that agenda, I would say, agenda item 1, this is what we want to discuss. This is what we want to achieve. This is how long we have to discuss agenda item 1. Right? That means if we are 7 in the room that are going to address that issue, we should give room. So if that meeting, that agenda item 1 is given 15 minutes, for example, it means that nobody should speak for more than 1 or 1.5 minutes on it. Whatever is your thoughts relating to it, say it and be direct. Be conscious of other people's time. There must be somebody who has enough authority or imposition to put everybody in check. Get to the point. Please, keep everybody. So we say, no, let everybody speak. Let them express themselves. Let's be free. We shouldn't be stampeding anybody. We shouldn't be. But hey, people who do that most of the time, they have a hidden agenda. They want to hijack everything. They want to be the one to impose their opinions on others. And they're not democratic. Because if you want to express yourself with all the time that we all have to express ourselves, how selfish is that? Even if you are the boss, control your input so that others can have time. And then emails, convenient and effective medium to conduct business communication. Emails also require certain etiquettes. There is the toll field to the person you are addressing who should respond. There is the CC, which is the carbon copy field. This person is being informed. The carbon copy person can also respond because everybody in CC is also visible. And then there is the BCC, the blind carbon copy, which means nobody knows each other in that category are not supposed to respond. When you're blind carbon copied, most of the time because we don't want you interacting with each other or knowing who else is in that category. So it's a secret mode that you cannot expose by popping in a response when you are blind, except when it particularly says, let's assume an RFP goes out and says, all of you should respond, to me. If I'm the one that blind carbon copied all of you and you all respond, it comes straight to me, individual. It doesn't go back to everybody. But if you click respond or reply to all when you are CC carbon copied, then definitely everyone else will see what you have sent. So toll field, when sending direct message to someone, send an email to the individual, you expect interaction with that person. CC, carbon copy, send a copy of the email to people who are not meant to be the direct recipients of the message, but still need to be kept in the loop, right? Like a manager needs to be kept in the loop and so on and so forth, when talking with your subordinates. Using the BCC field, stands for blind carbon copy. Place an email in this field. Recipients are blind to other recipients, receiving the email, right? It offers privacy, and as such, shouldn't be abused. And then, for all types of business writing, we should be conscious about the acronyms, the short forms, the abbreviations that we put in our writings, like using D to represent D, THE, for example, or putting all capital letters in a line item, or using BTW, by the way, to represent by the way, instead of spelling it out, or IMHO, in my honest opinion, or laugh out loud, LOL. Those are not things for emails, to be honest. So even if you've been doing it, desist. Try working your way out of it. And then we also do business letters. We send letters to organizations other than ours, whether to invite them, whether to send proposals, whether to sell something, whatever it is, we do those interactions. There are basic structure for such formal communication between business to business. The name and address, this person you are sending to, the addressee's full name and address, the date the letter is sent, formal salutation representing or understand of who that person is, how you lay out the page in terms of how the paragraphs are laid out are also supposed to be very formal. You can't be casual about business writing. Okay, so different considerations. I won't be able to push through all of this because of the time that we have in our hands. It's important that we follow the basic rules for putting together business writing. I can't imagine receiving a letter or a proposal or something from another organization, and the person who wrote it did not put a name. I've seen some of them say, dear MD of Max-Migold, we're sending you that. At the end of it, I don't have a name, a designation, whatever that helps me know who's the person behind this. Even if you say we are Unilever Marketing or we are Dangote Procurement, you still need to make sure that document is coming from an individual. Okay, and that applies to virtually all types of writing. So there's a bit more of content to be covered if you take the course on business writing from the Max-Migold Facility Management Courses.com. So I'll stop here and allow you to ask your questions. I'm going to allow any hand that is raised to unmute and ask questions. What challenges have you had regarding business writing? You can also make a comment on what you have learned from this session. So if you are in the training group on WhatsApp, you can also put a question there. You can chat me directly.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good day, sir. Yes,
yes.
sir. How are you, sir?
Very well.
Yeah, okay. Would you encourage modern times now? We have all this chat GPT, AI, and all that aids in writing things like this.
Yes,
would you
yes.
encourage? Yes. Would you encourage people to use these avenues to do writings for businesses?
Definitely, you should. You should, but there is what we call humanizing your writing. Most people use it and they don't even know how to humanize it. There's a particular way AI writes that if you copy and paste from AI, anybody that sees it sees you as fake, unintelligent, without any input from you. So AI should be a source of content, not your final write. I cannot represent you. So when you prompt AI to give you an output, you put that as part of your clipboard, right? And then you humanize it. You take the ideas and write it the way you normally would write, because there is something about how you write, how your organization writes, the kind of content you guys dish out that comes out from just you. So if you are trying to use AI, let AI be a source of ideas and inspiration and copy and content that you can use to work. I know some people now have, they now have one AI that generates content and they have another AI that humanizes. Even at that, if that content is tested on AI checkers and corporate organizations have tools for doing this these days, and they realize that your copies are coming from AI, they won't take you seriously. So I won't say no, don't use it. I say yes, use it, but use it as a source of, words or data or content that you can work on. So you must humanize all your writing. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, so thank you all for being here. Let's keep engaging. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, you can as well do that. Go to Paul Ebony on LinkedIn and connect, and then we can keep conversations going. Until next Thursday, when we'll come again with another, exciting episode of the Launch Hour. Have a good day and the rest of the week. Bye-bye.